Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born.
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
It's you and the senorita woofer blowing up the tweeter, cause it's me up in the speaker. Knocking the mama seat top down like a player, and the sound up in your ears, it is the dopest rhyme say I running game like a cheater.
You know, blink and you'll miss it. I'm referring to life. It appears to be moving awfully quickly at the moment. Did you know who Evan McCullen was yesterday? Or the day before that? Now, if you are a super political nerd, if you treat following politics the way that a lot of people tend to treat following football or baseball, then you might have been aware that this was percolating for a little while. But Evan McCullen, independent candidate, conservative independent, launching that presidential bid. What do we know about him? Well, here's the Cliff Notes for you. I encourage you to do your own research, but he's the chief policy director of the House Republican Conference, and he's backed by a hashtag Never Trump group. He's 40 years old. He's a Mormon. He's never held elected office. He's been a big critic of Trump on social media, referring to him as an authoritarian. He also went after Trump for his anti-Muslim stance, saying, quote, attacking them as a group makes America weaker, not stronger. There's this group, Better for America, and they've been looking around for an independent presidential candidate to put up against Trump. By the way, if you want an interesting take on this stuff, I'm not saying they're not slanted, because I don't know if there really is a not slanted. I think everybody sitting down to write has an opinion about the U.S. election at the moment. Because, well, as we've discussed in the past, America coughs and the rest of the world gets cold. So the entirety of the globe sort of feels like they have a vested interest in what's going on in America in this day and age. But generally speaking, if you're looking for a slightly less biased overview of what's going on, check out some international news source. Check out the BBC or something of that nature. And I'm not saying they don't have an agenda. I'm not saying they're not slanted, but they've got their own fish to fry. They've got big problems at home in England. So they kind of give an overview. If you ever listen to the news on the BBC, what's interesting is it's kind of like what we were before everything all kicked off with Buckley and Vidal back in the day, when punditry became something that could create big, big dollars. It's sort of, here are the facts. Point A, point B, point C, we've got big problems, the rest of which we'll leave alone. So if you are looking for a removed perspective that gives you a little bit more of a factual take on things with less conjecture and less editorializing, a global news source can be really good if you're trying to get a little bit of perspective. I grew up in England. I like the BBC. It makes me feel warm and cozy. Like I said, I'm not under any illusion that they are not in some way, shape, or form slanted. But one thing that you don't hear a lot of folks do on the BBC is editorialize. They're not paid to scream and shout. They're paid to read the news and read it well in a very old school kind of way. So BBC World Service has an interesting take on things. He says, directing people away from the platform on which his show is built. But it's important. You have to have a worldly perspective in these situations. You have to think locally. You have to think about how everything affects you, and you have to think globally. Because You remove yourself. You take a step back from the situation, and often you're going to get a certain amount of clarity when you unmire yourself from everything that's going on outside your front door. Anyways, McMullen dropped the following statement. It's never too late to do the right thing, and America deserves much better than either Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton can offer us. I humbly offer myself as a leader who can give millions of disaffected Americans a conservative choice for president. So where does this leave you? Where does this leave all of us? Where does this leave America and your vote? It's an interesting one. At ADSXE is where you can tweet your opinion.
Say ho, say ho, whoa, ho, let's start the show. Let's start the show. Hot 1, hot 2, hot 3, hot AD from your radio live and uncut. Tonight you got radio.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace in that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, there's gotta be a better way, yeah. And you do what they told ya. Company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over. Yeah, I do what I want.
40-year-old former CIA counterterrorism officer Evan McCullen is going to run for president as a third-party conservative. He's an alternative to Donald Trump. Now, the folks that have been working on this organization called Better for America, they're pushing his candidacy. He's got a long road to hoe. But the folks that are supporting him say they're confident he can act as a disruptor. Someone who can peel off some red states in a race where Republicans are still resistant to Donald Trump. It really has become absolutely anybody's race, hasn't it? Now, ordinarily, if you are someone that comes in late in the game, by the way, saved a whole bunch of money by not campaigning. Saved a whole bunch of money by not having to go through all the rigmarole of the primaries and things of that nature. And I've always thought this. If you want to run for president, why bother? Why bother spending all the time, effort, money, and energy fighting off everybody looking for the nomination? Why not just walk in at the 11th hour? Because when you walk in at the 11th hour, all eyes are on you. And is there a chance this guy is going to wind up president of the United States of these Americas? These United States of Americas? Probably not. But is it enough to wind up costing Trump the presidency? Yeah, maybe. Or costing him a shot at the presidency? Maybe. So where does this leave you and your vote? Because generally speaking, people that race in at the 11th hour for something like this tend to be, let's be real here, on a book tour. That's pretty much it. That's what they're doing. They have a vested interest in serving themselves. It's massive amounts of publicity. And it means that your price as a public speaker will skyrocket after the election season is over. But in this particular instance, it's something that has come about. It's something that has come about because, well, there's folks that are really against Trump. And Trump has had to deal with being seen as an against-the-grain disruptor since the beginning of everything. From the very get-go, Trump was not viewed as a Republican establishment candidate. And that's what a lot of people liked about him. But while he's been in conflict, as one is supposed to be during election season with the Democrats, while he's had to go up against Barack and Hillary, he's also had to deal with I'm going to go out on a limb and guess, more static from his own party than any other Republican candidate has had in the past. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, maybe I'm not remembering correctly. Maybe my memory doesn't go back far enough, but has he been divisive? Yeah, he has. But at the same time, there's a lot of Democrats that feel the same way about Hillary. This is where it really, really does become anybody's race. I know Democrats that say Hillary should have been indicted, but I'm going to vote for her, which is a strange state of affairs, isn't it? She should have been indicted, but I'm going to vote for her as leader of the free world. Why? Well, I like her better than the other option. Well, all of a sudden, there's another option. So for people that don't like Trump and people that don't like Hillary, regardless of what they're registered as, regardless of what their heart tells them they are in terms of someone who lies to the left or right, you now have McCullen and you have Gary Johnson. And it's an interesting time, to be sure. It really, really is. And I would say if you do want to vote differently, if you feel as though your needs are not represented by Trump or Hillary, maybe now's the time. Maybe now's the time for you to stand up and be counted. Maybe it's not a wasted vote. If you don't have an allegiance, if you don't feel like you're going to be served by either one of these folks, if you don't have a certain amount of fear about one of them being elected to the point where you want to have somebody else be in the White House, well then, it might be time that you use your voice and your vote and that pulling of the lever of democracy to say enough is enough. We need to be differently represented. We do not want to choose between the lesser of two evils every 4 years. We need an alternative that actually has some weight, whether that's libertarian, conservative, independent, Democratic independent, the Green Party. I don't know. I do know this, though. They've all been laughed off in the past. And people continue to laugh off the third parties and say that's just a wasted vote. The third, fourth, fifth, and sixth parties, however you want to count them. But in this particular instance, it seems as though there's real weight to it. And to those saying like, this is just a waste, this is just a goof, I'll remind you that the last two election cycles, when Donald Trump came into things and people went, this is a waste, this is a goof, this will never happen.
It's okay to disagree. It's not okay to be understimulated.
Well, I was just thinking that.
This is KPRC 950.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land.
All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. That's the way you do what we do. You do what we do. You do what we do. Well, it's a new one. Here I come again, coming again, taking it back to the place where I'm picking up the pen. And before I started, it's already a killer.
Scott Briscoe on Twitter pointed out Republicans can't stand not having control. This makes a fourth on the ballot. Two outsiders shouldn't make the ballot, having to poll 15%. And this is. I mean, look. I think there is a certain amount of there is a fractured quality to what is going on the left at the moment. But things aren't nearly as splintered as they are on the right and have been for some time now. The accusations of election rigging by Hillary Clinton's campaign, the accusations of denying Bernie Sanders the nomination in a shady way, that the establishment figured he was a thorn in his side, and as opposed to being independent, as opposed to being justified, as opposed to being equanimous, did everything they could to push him out of contention so they could have Hillary run for president in these United States of America, negating the will of the people. That is a whole big mess. And then you throw some emails on top of that, and that's an even bigger mess. But While there is division on the left, it is nowhere near as pronounced as the division that we find on the right and have been finding on the right for quite some time now. All dates back to the Tea Party, to me. Those emails started showing up a couple years back, and the Tea Party seemed as though it was something that welcomed people from opposite sides of the political fence. It was just about returning to the values that made America what it is in the first place. The Tea Party then somewhere along the way got, I think, hijacked by the far right. And it was around that time that you started hearing the name Rhino. Republican in name only. Why don't you get over to the other side of the fence and admit that you're the Democrat that you are? I myself refuse to be defined. If you define me, if you classify me, you negate me. And I don't know about you, I'm not willing to be negated. Therefore, never been much of a joiner. And it's crazy. America is this idea. America has this ideal that's been going on since the get-go, that we celebrate individual liberty. But really, it's a system that wants you to join, that wants you to become part of a non-free thinking amorphous mass. Just have a knee-jerk reaction. Vote for who your dad and your mom voted for. Sign up. Register as something, or you don't get to participate in the primaries. Register. Define yourself. Remove choice from the equation as fast as possible, and we'll want to take thought out of it as well. And if you define yourself, if you register as something, many people think that's what you're doing. I'm one of those people. I don't have any problem with people defining themselves by registering as a Republican or a Democrat, but it doesn't leave you free and easy like the shark you are with the ability to keep swimming. It removes thought. It removes individuality from the political process. That's what they want. That's what we should avoid. But it has been fractured like you wouldn't believe on the right, and it continues to become even more so. So there you go. What does this all mean for you and your vote? Like I said, I think if there's a time that you're going to vote your conscience, if there's a time in America's history, and we are at a tipping point, we are at an interesting stage in the game in America's history where I ask people older than me and go, hey, I'm younger than you. It's weird right now, isn't it? I had dinner with my aunt the other day, who just turned 75. And I was like, I don't remember things ever being this weird. I don't remember the general sense of what was happening in America feeling this fractured and this strange and this polarized. And she was like, no. I mean, there were obvious things like civil rights and whatnot back in the day. But this is a new and different kind of division that America is looking at. And this is a woman who's been a political observer and a participant for many, many years. And she confidently said, we're at a weird place in America's history. And if we are, in fact, in that weird place in America's history, if we are on the precipice of something, if we're about to go over the edge of some sort of cliff, now is the time that you stand up for what is in your heart. You do not let yourself be defined by your friends, your family, your relative, your neighbor. You know what's going on in your heart. You know who you are. You know what represents you the best. And in this election where it literally is anybody's game, now is the time for you to stand up and be yourself, be true to yourself, be true to your heart. It doesn't matter if it's not in line with what your parents think. It doesn't matter if it's not in line with what your fellow registered whatevers think. You and your heart and your mind, you know. And are we at a stage in the game where there is tremendous amount of craziness and injustice? Yeah, we are. Was Bernie Sanders robbed of the nomination? Quite possibly. Should Hillary Clinton have been indicted? Quite possibly. Is Donald Trump someone who has galvanized everything that is terrible in human nature? Maybe. I don't happen to think that he is a racist, bigoted extremist. But I think he successfully pandered to racist, bigoted extremists because he knows how to win games. And that is what he is going to do. That is how he won the nomination. And that is possibly how he's going to win the election. What he does when he gets into the White House, if he gets into the White House, who knows? But I think that's how he's going to get there. So has there ever been a better time to be you, to be true to yourself, to be true to the principles that guide you? You know what's in your heart. You know where your moral compass's true north is. Know it and act upon it this election season. As we get more and more fractured, you must be more and more defined in yourself and in your idea of what is right. Is there a tremendous amount of injustice in our political process at the moment? Yeah. But you know what? Injustice, in the end, produces independence. Voltaire. Alrighty then, let's see what's going on in the world. Check in with super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser. What is going on in the world, Funk?
This is My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair and certainly not balanced. And now, super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser.
You have a good weekend?
I did. I went back 20 years and saw Third Eye Blind at a fair.
Toot, toot, toot.
Doot.
You know, there's a certain
Oh, look, they're still together. Look at that. They're still. I wonder if they've been playing that song every night since then.
Third Eye Blind is a band that I actually have a tremendous amount of respect for, and I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons. Did you hear how they got their record deal?
No, huh?
They were being courted by the folks over at Sony Music, and in a meeting with the president of Sony Music, Third Eye Blind frontman Stephen Jenkins said, "You know what? You're kind of iffy on us. I get that. It's a lot of money we're asking for because it was a bidding war situation with that band. You put us on stage to open up for the biggest band you've got when they roll through our hometown of San Francisco. That band at the time being Oasis. We'll blow them away. And then you decide whether or not we're worth it." To which Sony replied, "Ha, you're on. Show this pipsqueak what's what. We're an enormous company with lots of money. We are the shot callers, not him." And they opened up for Oasis, and I don't know whether or not they blew him off the stage the way they promised him to, but all of a sudden there was this, hey, wait a second, who's this local band opening up for Oasis? That must be a big deal. And the herd mentality being what it is in the record business, A&R weasels flock to San Francisco, checkbooks in hand, waving them and offering them more and more and more money. And they just took an ungodly amount of money. I can't remember who it was back in the day. Maybe it was Elektra. I don't know. But, there was a huge bidding war over them. And Stephen Jenkins created that by leveraging his relationship with Sony into something. He used Sony to get where he was going. And we always like it when the little guy, as he was at the time, wins. But the other thing that's very interesting about Third Eye Blind is they have massive, massive hits in the 90s. And people thought they sort of went away. They didn't. They are now... Third Eye Blind are, did you know this, Funkhauser? Third Eye Blind are the biggest drawing, billing college band in all of America. They play colleges pretty much nonstop. They're huge on the college circuit, and they make more money and play to more people at college shows than any other musicians, I think, of all time. It's like a staggeringly large record, their performances at colleges. And old Jenkins...
They've been singing about trying to graduate, so I can understand.
Yeah, very good. I see what you did there. Well played, sir.
Thank you.
No, they've been and Jenkins was just like, ultimately, we always thought we'd be an underground band. It just took us 20 years to go back underground. But there you go. I in my youth did some shows with Third Eye Blind, a lot of them, and I'll never forget. And this is the thing. That guy's written some songs that I really, really like, and I know I really like them because some of the experiences we had with them on tour were not good ones. Like the time where we're all sitting down eating dinner, and he stands up on the table and he walks across it, and everyone's like, "What the hell are you doing? This is our food. This is dinner. What the hell?" And he went, "It's my tour, and I can do what I want." And everyone went, "Oh my God." Oh my God. So the fact that he could pull a move like that, and I can still listen to his records and go, this is really good.
Yeah.
Means something.
I would have said a lot more things than you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's your tour? Oh. Bleep.
Well, here's the thing. I've always been one to let bygones be bygones. I always believe in... I always know when it's time to put the past away. Let's do some news.
Members of USA's men's basketball team mistook a real brothel for a spa.
Yeah.
Sure.
USA men's basketball. We're like, oh, it's a brothel? This is a place where you solicit prostitutes?
What?
Gosh, I thought it was a spa. Language barrier. To which the male population of America went, wow, never tried that one before. Let us know how that works out when you tell your wives. Inquiring minds want to know. Go on.
Kim Kardashian says she's not a feminist, and that
Right.
made the news.
Yeah, but only after an assistant told her what feminist meant. What? Oh, no, I'm not one of those. One more, Funkhauser.
E is canceling I Am Kate.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Caitlyn Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner.
Do here? Watch the Rio Olympics, maybe run around. Yeah,
He is canceling I Am Kate. No, now we're never going to get to hear from Caitlyn Jenner ever again. Oh, well.
Hope she finds another outlet there.
Yeah, I think she will. Go on.
Lindsay Lohan is hinting that her relationship is over.
Yeah. The relationship with her fiance. Lindsay Lohan's relationship with cocaine, well, that is apparently as strong as ever. Go on.
A Toronto man called police after spotting an Arnold Schwarzenegger cutout holding a gun.
Right. Although,
Sorry, I didn't really.
In the guy's defense, the cutout was exactly like Schwarzenegger, just with slightly larger range of acting.
Drinking my Molson, I saw a shadow.
Do it now. Go on. News, do it now.
Photos of Brett Favre's locker at the Pro Football Hall of Fame contain both Green Bay Packer and Minnesota Viking jerseys. Well, what do you know there?
Yeah. It's interesting that they allowed him to do that because, when Mike Piazza went into the Baseball Hall of Fame, it was this whole big thing. Like Tommy Lasorda of LA Dodgers fame, who gave him his break when he was a 61st round draft pick, was like, hey, are you going in as a Dodger or a Met? And he went, I'm going in as a Met. And Tommy Lasorda was like, what the hell, man? And they made him choose. And all of us New York Mets fans rejoiced. Of course he's going in as a Met. That's what he is.
Hey, didn't Lenny Dykstra tweet you or something?
Lenny Dykstra of the New York Mets liked.
That was cool.
My beloved New York Mets have been in a bit of a losing slump recently. They dropped 3 in a row. To teams that they shouldn't be dropping games to. And they haven't, since the All-Star break, they haven't managed to win 2 games in a row. So I decided to break out the big guns. I'm very superstitious about what New York Mets shirts I wear on which particular game days. And to channel the power of the 1986 New York Mets and the spirit of nails that they needed, I wore my Lenny Dykstra Mets shirt. And I took a photo of that, and Lenny Dykstra liked that photo. Then I tweeted about it, and he liked that as well. The Dykstra is strong with this one. # nails.
Like Theo Huxtable, days like this when I feel untouchable. I try and make up for all the wrongs I did by living my life like a Cosby kid. Jamming on the one like Theo and Stevie. I know it sounds crazy, but you gotta believe me. When I feel like I just can't make it through, I try to think, what would Cliff tell Theo to do? Man, sometimes it's just so hard to be a good person, to lift yourself up.
Always fair and mentally unbalanced. KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
Cannabis growing competitions at state fairs, why the hell not? It's a thing. Is it going to happen? We'll discuss the eventuality of this a little later on in the show. Right now, though, let's continue to roll through what remains of the news with super producer to the stars, Barry Funkhauser.
Thank you. Guests at President Obama's birthday party on Friday night included Jay-Z, Beyonce, Magic Johnson, and Stevie Wonder.
By the way, Stevie Wonder, illuminating guest to have at your party. Awful when it's his turn to hit the piñata. Go on.
The CDC approved the release of mutant Zika-killing mosquitoes in Florida.
Yeah. So Zika virus has become a thing in Florida.
That's a new animated feature.
Well, people are advising folks not to go to Florida because of the instances of Zika virus that have been found. And now, to combat that, they've approved the release of mutant Zika-killing mosquitoes. Are you like me in that I feel like this is the opening line of another movie starring Ian Ziering and Tara Reid?
Actually, yes, I am.
Mutant Zika killing mosquitoes. Maybe we can get Tiffany to guest star.
This December.
Tiffany and Debbie Gibson team up with mutant Zika killing mosquitoes to save Florida. It's a script that writes itself. Go on.
Golf and rugby sevens are the two new sports added to the Rio Games. What's that?
Yeah. Golf and rugby sevens. Now there's all sorts of skateboarding has been in contention to become an Olympic sport for a really long time, and the outsider mentality of professional skateboarding has sort of said, well, it would be good for us, but don't change it. Don't change it into something sterile and awful, as large organizations are wont to do, to something that is sort of collectively owned by the public. Don't be messing with skateboarding. But I mean, look, obviously snowboarding has become a tremendous winter Olympic sport. So the idea of Olympic skateboarding was something that had been batted around. A lot of different sports were in contention to become Olympic Games. But golf and rugby sevens were the two new sports added to the Rio Summer Games. The ones that didn't make it, the 100-meter email delete, visit a Rio slum and try not to get shot put, cross-country presidential election rigging, women's 400-meter nagging relay, synchronized reach-arounds, and my favorite sport that I will be taking gold in if it ever does become an Olympic game, the piathlon. Pie. Go on, what else?
There's no math.
That was so stupid.
Kris Jenner says she's okay and only injured her wrist in a car accident on Wednesday.
Yep, the Kardashian mom, an older yet still unbelievably skanky celebrity skank news. Kris Jenner is okay. Only her wrist is injured. I know what you're asking. I know what you're thinking. Her wrist is injured. Don't worry. It will not impact her ability to hold a pen in order to sign her contract renewal with the devil. Everything's going to be fine. Go on.
I thought she was the devil.
No, just in league with him.
A London cafe plans to offer oral sex with coffee.
I'll let you make the first joke, Funkhauser. Go on.
Hey, girlie, right there. Would you like some extra cream with your coffee?
There you go. That would be the obvious one. Frothier, foamier, just a splash of creamer. Here's the thing. I actually looked this up because, growing up in London, I was like, that doesn't seem like a thing that would be legal. Apparently, selling sex is not illegal in England. And I don't know how long this has been a thing. Selling sex is not illegal.
How did you not know that for so long?
Maybe it's a new thing since I left. I always... I don't know. I never really looked. I just assumed it was illegal. But apparently it's not. What is illegal is organized prostitution, like pimping and running brothels and things of that nature.
You can't form a team, then.
You can't form it. Yeah, which is, I don't know.
Can't unionize.
I really don't know how this happened, don't know how it went down, but while it is legal, there are tremendous restrictions. However, they think they're going to be able to get around these restrictions at this London cafe. They're going to offer
something.
Yes, they're going to offer below-the-belt favors with coffee, courtesy of escorts. So I don't know if it's a third-party thing. Who knows? All I know is when you tell them you want it black, you need to be specific. Go on.
Facebook has taken steps to cut down on clickbait.
Yeah, and you won't believe what happened next. What happened next will leave you shocked.
The 7 things Facebook is doing to cut down clickbaits. Here's number 5.
Number 3 is a doozy.
Yeah.
In just a little bit, we'll talk about whether or not cannabis competitions will be allowed as part of your state fair. Right now, though, more news with Punkhauser.
Last Thursday was IPA Day.
Yes, IPA Day, which made IPA drinkers very, very hoppy.
Yeah,
I
celebrated.
Out. Are you a drinker of IPAs?
Yeah. Yeah, I drink all the liquids. It's nice. Now I'm beginning to develop a palate, and now I know the difference between good and bad.
Oh, have you become a craft beer drinker? A craft beer connoisseur? Mm-hmm. An aficionado of independent breweries? Mm-hmm. Do you eschew big beer?
Not that far yet.
Yeah. Like,
once my shirt size changes again, then...
So would you... Let me ask you this. You're offered independent brew by some independent brewery. Or what's your beer of choice? Coors Light? Budweiser? Like if you're going to drink a beer.
More like Blue Moon, you know? What's that other orange one? There's an orange one.
Blue Moon with orange?
There's another kind. The Hefeweizen. Right. I'm into that.
So if somebody offered you an independent beer or Hefeweizen, is
always
that a thing?
Independent beer.
You'd always drink the independent, even though you didn't know what you were getting. You don't want the consistency of something going like, oh, that's going to be refreshing and cold and slip down easy. I know exactly what that's going to be like. You'd always go for door number 2. Who knows?
Yes.
Experimental. Wow, interesting. It's very adventurous of you, Funkhauser. That's what it is.
Real radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is.
The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So, Funkhauser, did you celebrate the holiday last week?
Which one in particular again?
I mean, last Thursday was IPA Day.
Oh, yeah.
But IPA Day actually fell in the middle of National Clown Week. Did you know last week was National Clown Week?
I did not.
Yeah.
I should have celebrated.
Do we have some circus-y type music?
I'm looking for it. How's...
Yeah. I think that'll do. So, yeah. Last week was National Clown Week. And I know what you're thinking. Being a clown seems fun. Maybe that's a career path I want to take. But, you know, if you do decide to become a clown... Oh, no, keep up the music, Funkhauser.
That's kind of as long as it is.
Oh, that's all you got? Yeah. Here are a couple questions you got to ask yourself before becoming a professional clown. Is there not a more enjoyable way to have a bulbous red nose, and is it not called alcoholism? Mm-hmm. Do you need a background check for a gun that shoots a flag which says bang? And finally, if you're thinking of being a clown, you have to ask yourself, am I insane and also capable of forming a posse?
My mom was a clown.
What? Really?
Yeah. My mom and my 7-year-old sister went around did birthday parties.
Oh, well, that's different. I think. Is that different? Was she like a clown?
She took a class and got a license in it. You have to.
Oh, so she has a clown license?
Yeah.
No kidding. Wow. Wow, that's interesting. So
I should ask her what's in the final exam.
Steve-O from Jackass. You know that guy?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, buddy. He might be here right now.
He actually went to clown college. He got a degree in being a clown. It's not as easy as everybody thinks. Apparently, it's like a big deal.
Yeah, it's not just
big,
an insult.
Interesting deal, huh?
Not just an insult. Why don't you go to clown college?
Yeah. No, apparently you got to save up and pay, and it's a whole big deal. So, how long did it take your mom to get certified as a clown?
I don't know. Online, couple weeks, I think. I don't know. Maybe a couple of clicks. Congratulations. What did
she learn?
I should ask her. Probably some simple magic tricks and stuff and how to incorporate it into a birthday party. It's just,
Can she make balloon animals?
She always knew how to make balloon animals. So, yeah, I guess so.
She was just born with the ability?
And juggling and, all that stuff.
Wow. Very interesting. Perhaps we'll have your
maybe I can go to clown college if this doesn't work out.
It's your mom and your sister? They're both certified clowns?
They were for a while, yeah. My sister let her clown
you have to re-up your certification? It doesn't, Yeah. How often do you have to, Wow.
I think a year, every year.
I don't think my every year?
You get a little card. You print
I don't
out?
think my driver's license expires till 2020. But you have to, like, they're more stringent on your clown license than they are your legal ability to operate a motor vehicle. Mm-hmm. Can you ask your mom? Can you do a little bit of research on this? Find out exactly what it involved.
Maybe we'll get Lolly and Lulu up in here.
So do they still do parties and
no,
whatnot?
It's been like years and years. Yeah, I'm sad they stopped too. Because come on, I want my party to be all clowny.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Is it not your sister's birthday today?
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Sister Funk! Right there, 24.
Very good. Happy birthday, Sister Funk. And not only that, but isn't it your anniversary with Canadian Jane?
I try to do everything on one day, so I remember.
And it might even be our anniversary as well. We could have been on the air together for three years.
I think this is our third year together.
What, we've done 2 years, or we're coming up on...
And I still don't have a ring. What the heck's going on here?
Put out. Maybe this is the year we're going to start putting out. And by putting out, I mean making money. Perish the thought. Hey, even Sean Hannity has spoken to Trump through his show. Not directly, but he opened his show the other night with advice for the Trump campaign. Said, quote, "There must be no more unforced errors and extreme message discipline," quote unquote. And he's basically saying that Donald Trump should focus on the Democratic nominee. No more talking about your relationship with Paul Ryan, Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, or John McCain, who he came out and endorsed in a very sort of unifying way. He usually shoots from the hip. He did not this time. He had pre-prepared statements. He improvised around them, but he had something very specific that he wanted to say. And it was supposed to squash the beef on the right so that they could focus on beating the left. No sooner did they manage to galvanize themselves in that way than you have McCollin, this new independent guy that's going to be focusing on Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump, I think at this stage in the game, would have every right to say all of this guy's words are beneath me. I will not be competing against him. I'm competing against Hillary. And I really hope that's what he does. Be interested to see if that's how he handles it. That's how I would handle it. If I was Trump, if I'd finally secured the nomination, if I'd managed to squash the beef in my party and was taking a big run at being president and I had to go after Hillary and Barack, if that's what I was facing, I would face those. And I would not let myself be distracted by a fourth candidate entering the fray at the 11th hour. I would just be like, okay, I've done my work. There's this thing going on over here. We're not going to spend time talking about it today. It'll be curious to see how that goes if McCollin is successful in poking the bear. We'll wait and see. By the time this airs in Florida tonight, we might already have an idea of how that could go. But the world is changing, my friend. Changes every single day in ways that you wouldn't imagine. Things happen all the time that you never would have imagined happening a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, yesterday. Check out Jerry Seinfeld, who was the king of television for years and years and years. But now he's up for the same Emmy as Jimmy Fallon for something that only exists on the internet.
So it's the same category that this amazing show is in.
Yeah, we're nominated for the same category.
For the same category. How uncomfortable is this? It's so uncomfortable. Here's why it's uncomfortable.
Why?
Because this is as big as it gets. Your show on a major network, the amount of money that is spent, and that I caught you with 3 GoPros and a used car. I have now.
That's really
we're
sad.
now tied.
That's
we're
really
tied.
sad. Yeah.
The world is changing. Hear that laugh from Fallon? That was an uncomfortable laugh. Caught you with 3 GoPros and a car. And that is yet another sign that the world is changing in a more rapid way than you ever could have imagined. If you told somebody that they would be up for the same Emmy as The Tonight Show with something that was made by 3 people and broadcast on the internet. If you told them that as the internet was getting its legs toward the tail end of Jerry Seinfeld's success on TV, everyone would have said you were absolutely out of your mind. And look, to be a candidate in this day and age, you don't have to have a ton of financial backing. That, I think, is a very good and healthy thing. What you got to have is a certain amount of internet savvy. You got to be able to press those clickbait buttons the way Facebook is trying to cut down on. 3 ways Trump will ruin America. 3 ways Hillary has sold out America. Number 3 will blow your mind. Click. At the very least, we'll cut down on that sort of thing. But like I said, we live in an ever-changing, evolving world, and this falls right in line with that. Forget Nana's apple pie. Forget Bubba's big old squash. The Oregon State Fair has unveiled a new horticulture competition this year. The competition will award, wait for it, 3 categories for marijuana plants. Funkhauser, do you know enough about marijuana to know what the 3 categories would be?
Yes. No, I mean, no.
Oh, what? No. It's okay.
Why don't you tell me?
Medicinally legal where you live. You don't know?
There's 3?
3.
Okay, so there's one that starts with an I, one that starts with an S, and one that starts with a hybrid.
Oh, there you go.
Did I get it?
Very good. Yeah, you got it exactly right. Sativa, indica, and hybrid.
Bam.
So when I smoked pot back in the day when I was a teenager, I've got absolutely no interest in it now. But I've got really bad ADD. And the thing that I did not care for with marijuana is that it blew my mind into a million different places. A lot of people would sort of smoke pot to relax and get things done. I was never one of those people that could do that. I had friends that could smoke pot and write term papers and knock them out of the park. It just sent my mind off into a million different places and made me kind of paranoid as I tried to gather them. Very, very unpleasant. And now that it's all sort of scientific and medicinal and legal to where people can explain to you and take the time to explain to you exactly what it is you're getting because you're not about to be chased out of the parking lot by a cop. People know a lot more about this stuff, and I don't know. I'm not interested in smoking pot. It hasn't been a thing and never will be a thing for me. If I'm in some sort of medical condition where I need pain managed and it comes down to, well, you could eat this marijuana cookie or you could be on this opiate that could have you holding up people in that parking lot a little later on in your life because you got to have more, I will probably take the marijuana cookie over the narcotic pain medication. But until that day comes, not interested, not going to be a thing for me. But when I tell people that are fans of the wacky tobacco that I don't like it because it shot my mind off into a million places and I just have no interest in taking drugs recreationally or otherwise, they say, oh, you're smoking the wrong stuff. And I don't know what the wrong stuff is. I don't know whether sativa or indica is supposed to be better for you. I'm sure I'm going to get a million tweets and emails about this because whenever I bring it up, someone who knows a lot about marijuana offers up some very helpful information that I won't probably use, but I really enjoy knowing. So, yeah, there's now 3 different categories for marijuana plants. Sativa, indica, and hybrid. Everybody thinks I'm stoned on the air. People make certain assumptions like, man, you're blazed out of your mind. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm really not. How do you attribute, to what do you attribute you sounding this way?
This actually never happened to me.
Here's the thing. If you are paying money for marijuana on a regular basis, suckers, something very easy that produces the same results. Sleep deprivation. Just get a job where you're forced to work unreasonably hard and sleep very few hours, and all of a sudden you too will be laughing at things out of context and eating crappy food. Trust me, I know. Sleep deprivation has a lot of the same qualities as marijuana. Anyways, more than 60 growers are expected to showcase their live cannabis plants. Winning plants are going to be displayed at the fair. Overseeing the Oregon Fair's panel of judges. Mm-hmm. Oregon, yeah. And helping sample the entries. See, this is interesting. They've got a judge who's going to be overseeing everything and helping sample the entries. Ed Rosenthal, who's 71-year-old dude. He's known as the guru of ganja. Do you know about this guy?
No, but he's already awesome.
Yeah, he's called the guru of ganja. That's what he calls himself. And he's from Oakland. He's a publisher. He's an activist. And he's an author. He's going to help the panel pick 9 winners at a pre-fair elimination contest. So pre-fair elimination contest. I guess this ties into how it's possible because, well, the plants in competition must be non-flowering, no buds, and organizers say consumption of marijuana is strictly prohibited on fair grounds. Make of that what you will. But if you're an enthusiastic amateur grower or perhaps part of the legalized medicinal marijuana trade, you might have big dollars waiting for you if you enter the competition at the Oregon State Fair. Now you know. Thank you for hanging out.